Whether you bring your hands to rest on your belly or whether you prefer to stretch the arms out to the sides. Perhaps gently closing your eyes. As you close your eyes, you might start to take notice of the heaviness of your body, starting to draw your awareness more to the inside. Checking in with how your body is feeling this morning, if there's any places that feel tight or tense or uncomfortable, acknowledging those places. And also there may be places inside your body that feel comfortable and content. Also acknowledging those places. Perhaps noticing any sounds that you can hear. Sounds inside your room. Or maybe you can notice sounds outside. Starting to take notice of your breath. You may even be able to hear the sound of your own breath. And starting to feel the sensation of your breath inside your body. So you might be feeling your breath inside your nostrils or inside your throat or your chest or your belly or maybe somewhere else. And you may like to simply continue to breathe naturally and observe your breath. Or you might like to start to join me for the alternate nostril breath. So alternate nostril breath, this is a great one for headaches actually. So for the alternate nostril breath, you can do this lying down, you can do it sitting. We're going to lift one hand, bring together pointer finger and middle finger, and rest those two fingers at the point in between your eyebrows. Just lightly resting there. Just checking that you're still able to keep that shoulder relaxed. So the arm that you've lifted, or both shoulders actually, keeping both shoulders soft. We'll be using the thumb to close one nostril. We'll be using the last two little fingers to close the other nostril. So if you'd like to join me, start by closing off your left nostril, inhaling smoothly through your right nostril. Then closing off your right nostril, open up the left side, exhale fully through that left side. Keeping the left side open, inhaling through the left. And closing the left and open the right side, exhale fully through that right side. So you may wish to continue for a few more rounds. If it starts not feeling right for whatever reason, discontinue, come back to your natural breath. If you're feeling quite comfortable with alternate nostril breathing, another option might be to retain the breath. So in other words, pause at the top of the inhale, you could make that pause a tiny bit longer. And also the pause at the bottom of the exhale if you want to hold the breath out just a tiny bit longer. Checking in with how you're feeling. If you're practicing alternate nostril breathing, you might just like to do one more round. So finishing with an exhalation. You're welcome to keep going if you want to, or finishing with an exhalation and then releasing your hand back down to rest. Perhaps keeping your eyes closed so you can tune in to how your breath is feeling now. Notice if there's any subtle differences as you breathe evenly through both nostrils together. Does your breath feel smoother or deeper or longer? And then, of course, you're welcome to stay in stillness. And remember, everything is an invitation. So if any movement doesn't feel right for you, feel free to leave it out or change it. And if you do feel ready, if you'd like to join me for some movement, starting to bring your knees towards your chest. So as you bring your knees in, whether you're holding at the backs of your knees, whether you're bringing your hands to the fronts of your knees, perhaps noticing how your back is pressing down into the floor. Keeping your shoulders relaxed, keeping your face soft. And if it feels right, you can keep your eyes closed. Start to make little circles with your knees in one direction. And you might keep that circle really, really tiny, or you might like to make that a little bit bigger. See how it feels. If you're circling, you can try go in the other direction as well. Great. Okay, so you can keep going with those circles, or maybe changing it so that you're starting to take your knees out in opposite directions. And the knees circle down and around, bringing knees back together and back in towards your chest. See how slow you can go. If you feel like you're going slow, maybe challenge yourself to go 5 or 10% slower. Challenge your slowness. And you decide how small or large you'd like these circles to be. So you might want to keep the circles really tiny, or you might be exploring that movement, that range of motion from your hip sockets. So maybe just one more, and then next time you bring your knees towards your chest, pause there. Or you're welcome to continue, of course. If you're bringing your knees towards your chest, whether you're hugging your knees a little bit closer in, you might like to try flexing your feet. So you're bringing your toes in and then pointing your toes away. So maybe flexing and pointing a couple of times. Or another option might be to circle into your ankles. Perhaps circling into your ankle joints. Perhaps you're wriggling your toes as you circle. Circling one way and then circling in the other direction. That's it. Beautiful. Okay, so you're welcome to then pause with those circles, or you're welcome to continue with the circles. If you're pausing, maybe flex the feet again and then stretching your legs up, pressing your heels towards the ceiling. So as you do that, you might start to feel a stretch somewhere through your legs, perhaps. Whether you're able to completely straighten your legs or whether you're keeping your knees bent or whether you want to bend your knees even more. And then from here, you might try to take the arms up overhead. Whether you have your elbows softly bent or whether you want to reach out a little bit more through your arms. I'm going to have my knees softly bent and my elbows softly bent. So the choice is yours. And you might just decide to stay here, or I'm going to show you how to bring some more movement in, moving with your breath, if you want to. So if you'd like to, breathing in here, as you breathe out, bring your knees back towards your chest and bring your hands back to your knees, hugging in. And then with the inhale, legs extending, arms go up and over. And with the exhale, hugging in. So if you'd like to follow your breath, going at your own breath pace. One more option, completely up to you. With your exhale, as you hug your knees in, you might like to lift your head. So you're bringing your forehead towards your knees. If you decide if it's more comfy to just leave your head resting on the floor, that's fine too. And if you're still moving, maybe just one last one. And then releasing your head down to the floor, releasing your feet down to the floor, letting everything feel heavy. So from here, let's move into a lying twist. So if you take your feet, so they're a bit wider than your hips. If you're on a yoga mat, your feet might be finding the edges of your yoga mat or going even outside the edges. And then you might like to take your arms out wide with your palms facing up, encouraging your shoulder blades to sink down. Starting with your head in center, start with a nice deep breath in. Feel that you're filling up your lungs. When you're ready to exhale, let both knees drop towards one side as you lift the other side of your pelvis and your waist up away from the floor, keeping your shoulders connected to the floor. With your inhale, find your way slowly back to center until your pelvis feels centered. And then with your exhale, take that to the next side. Really feel how your pelvis and your waist is lifting up and shoulders stay connected. Find your way back to center with your inhale. And then if that feels good, continuing on so that you're following your breath. Another option could be to turn your head each time, so you're turning away from your knees. If you prefer to simply pause and rest and take a few breaths on one side, that's totally okay too. Checking in with what your body needs, whether you want to be moving with your breath or whether you want to be still. And if you did pause on one side, you might like to switch that over to the second side now. Take your time. Okay, lovely. So when you're ready, if you're ready to pause, find your way back to center. And then if you bring your feet closer in together, stretching your right leg out long on the floor. And then with your left knee bent, placing your left foot onto your right leg. And then you might decide to keep your arms resting on the floor where they are, or you could bring your right hand to that left knee. We're going to do a different lying twist next. So again, take a nice deep breath in. When you're ready to exhale, taking that left knee across and towards the right. And we're still aiming to keep the shoulders connected to the floor. You might like to turn your head the opposite way, so turning your head perhaps towards the left side as your knee travels towards the right side. Let's take a breath or two here. See if you can feel the sensation of your breath in your belly. Finding your way slowly back to the center as you're ready. Stretching that left leg long once you're there, and then bending your right knee and bringing your right foot to your left leg. So both arms might be resting on the floor, or you could bring your left hand to your right knee. Start with a nice deep breath in. As you begin to exhale, moving into the twist, so your knee comes across and towards the left, and if you want to, turning your head to the right side. See if you can feel the sensation of your breath. Maybe you can feel the sensation of your breath in your belly. Or maybe you're focusing on your breath somewhere else, and paying attention to how your body feels. Okay, and then gradually, as you're ready, find your way right back to center. And then perhaps stretching both legs out long, and you might even like to take a full body stretch here. So perhaps arms reach up and overhead. You might point your toes and reach out for your fingertips, or you might prefer to wriggle your fingers and your toes, or even circling into your ankles and your wrists. See what feels best, or maybe doing a combination, lengthening through the sides of your body. Notice where you can feel your breath now. And you might decide to stay here, resting on your back. You're more than welcome to. Or if you'd like to, you can plant your feet back to the floor and begin to roll yourself onto one side, resting on your side for an extra breath, or maybe two. And then gradually, if you want to, find your way up from there. Okay, so we might come onto all fours from here. So if you'd like to come on to all fours, I'm just going to adjust my camera slightly. So much sunshine coming in now. All right, so if you're coming to all fours, that could be with your hands planted to the floor, or it could be down on your elbows. Now, either way is fine. If you do have your hands planted to the floor, you might try spreading your fingers out wide so you have a nice foundation for your hands. Knees planted to the floor so they're beneath your hips. You might start to sway one side to the other. As you sway, checking in with how your shoulders are feeling. Checking in with how your hips are feeling. And if you are noticing any tension anywhere, are you noticing any tightness? How's your body feeling as you move? You could stay with the swaying, or maybe start to make that a circle. Just circling around, you might notice how your weight is shifting from one knee to the other, one hand or elbow to the other. And you might also take that in the other direction. And you could stay with this, or another option, if you're coming back to center, bend your elbows a little bit so the front of your rib cage comes closer to the floor, and then try lifting your rib cage on one side, lifting the back of your rib cage up towards the ceiling, and then lower on the second side. So it's like, imagine if you have a hula hoop around your center and you're circling in the direction of the hula hoop. Slow and mindful movement, paying attention to how your body feels as you move. Where do you notice tension? Maybe tension releasing. Where do you notice the feeling of a stretch? If you're doing that circle, you might try go the other way. Okay, you're welcome to continue with that or going back to the other circling. But next, I thought I'll show you what's sometimes called the puppy pose with a twist. And this one's great for the shoulders. So this was actually a request. Someone sent me an email in reply to my email with a request this week. So if you walk your hands a little bit further out in front, so rather than having your hands right beneath your shoulders, hands are a little bit further forward, so you have plenty of space between where your hand is and where your knee is. And I'm going to talk you through lefts and rights, just so we're not too confused, but you're welcome to do the opposite from what I'm doing. So I'm going to begin with my left arm. Let me just turn a little bit this way. So taking the left arm out to the side, and then looking out towards your fingertips. And when you're ready to breathe in, try lifting that left arm maybe a tiny bit higher, maybe even reaching up towards the sky. And then with an exhale, lower that arm down, bend your elbow, take your arm through the space, and then see if you can bring your shoulder and your head right down to rest on the floor. So keeping your hips lifted up high, head and shoulder coming down to rest. Keeping your right hand planted to the floor. I'm going to show you another option in a moment as well. So you're bringing a fair amount of weight into that right hand, so there's not very much weight on your head. Another option, provided that your head and your neck are feeling comfortable, if you want to, you could lift that right arm up, away from the floor, and maybe taking your arm behind your waist. So you could be reaching towards the top of your left thigh. And then if you're there and provided you're comfortable, you might close your eyes. If it doesn't feel comfortable, of course, come out of the pose if it's not right. You could always come to child's pose instead. And if you are in the pose, you might be feeling a stretch happening somewhere through your shoulders or your upper back, or maybe somewhere else. Let your breath flow. If you did take that right arm around the back of your waist, then lifting it up again and bringing that right hand back down to your mat. Pressing down into that right hand to begin to come out of the pose, coming back to all fours. Once you're back on all fours, you might sway a little bit, you might circle. And we're going to switch that over for the second side. So I'm going to turn, but you won't have to. So again, hands a little bit further out in front than your shoulders. Right arm this time, right arm reaches out, looking towards your fingertips. As you breathe in, you could try lifting your arm a little bit higher. And with the exhale, lower your arm, bring it through the space, head and shoulder coming down to rest. Keep your hips lifted up. And then start with that left hand still planted to the floor. You can bring quite a lot of, it can be pressing down quite a lot into that hand. Checking on how your head and your neck are feeling. Sometimes it's a slight adjustment of the head to make it comfortable. So that might mean lifting your chin slightly or lowering your chin slightly. If your head is feeling comfortable, and if you want to, you could try lifting your arm and then taking that left hand around the back of your waist, reaching towards the top of your right thigh. Close your eyes if you're comfortable to. If you're not comfortable in the pose, don't force it, don't push it. Come out of the pose if you need to. Come back to all fours or child's pose. Noticing your breath. Noticing where you're feeling a stretch. Or if you're feeling a stretch. Okay, and if you have taken your arm around your back, lifting it up again, and that left hand comes back down, pressing down firmly into that left hand. Coming back to all fours. Have another sway, side to side perhaps. And then you could walk your hands in, perhaps coming to a kneeling position, or you could stretch your legs straight out in front. You might like to lift your arms here, maybe keeping a little soft bend in the elbows though, and circle into your wrists a few times. Circle your wrists, wriggle your fingers, and going the other way too. And from here, perhaps interlacing all of your fingers, pressing your palms straight out in front. So as you press your palms forward, you might feel that you're creating a little bit of a stretch of those muscles in between your shoulder blades, the upper back area. Notice your breath. And when you're ready to next breathe in, lifting your arms slowly until your palms face towards the ceiling. And then with an exhale, slowly releasing your arms out to the sides and down. Lovely. Okay, you might take some shoulder circles. If you're circling backwards through your shoulders, you might also like to try circling forwards, or you might do a combination. All right, so it's nearly time for Yoga Nidra. If you would like to make yourself comfortable, whichever resting pose you'd like today for Yoga Nidra, whether you'd like to be lying on your back, maybe with a bolster or cushions for beneath your knees, whether you'd like to be lying on your front perhaps with, you could have cushions beneath your belly, you could have, a blanket to go over top, and maybe even rolled up blankets for beneath your ankles if you're lying on your front. You could be lying on your back, but with your legs up on a chair. And if you do have an eye pillow, have that just nearby. So once you're all sorted, once you're all settled, your eye pillow will be there to pop over your eyes. So take your time, making sure that you'll be warm enough with a blanket over top. Once you are lying down, you might take a bit of a wriggle one side to the other, or maybe swaying your head slowly one side to the other. So for Yoga Nidra, we're aiming to find stillness through the body, which can then have an effect on the mind. So stillness and quiet and peace within the body can help to find stillness and quiet and peace within the mind. It's a possibility. But if you do need to adjust your position in any way, that's totally fine. If you do need to move in any way, that's totally okay. Don't be too critical of yourself. If you're not able to find stillness, every day is different. Every day you practice Yoga Nidra is different. But taking the time now to get yourself as comfortable and as supported as possible. So whether that means grabbing an extra cushion or an extra pillow to pop under your knees, whether it means popping an extra blanket over top. And then you may like to pop your eye cover over your eyes or gently closing your eyes, returning your awareness to your breath. Feel that natural heaviness of your body resting on the ground. And see if you can feel the sensation of your breath inside your body. So I'm going to guide you to soften and relax through different areas of your body, bringing your awareness into different areas of your body. Beginning with your left leg, softening your left hip, your left knee, left ankle, left foot, and softening each of your left toes. Allowing the whole of your left leg to soften. Now bringing your awareness to your right leg. Softening your right hip, right knee, right ankle, right foot, and softening each of your right toes. Allowing the whole of your right leg to soften. Softening and relaxing through both legs together. Bringing your awareness now to your left arm, softening your left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist, left hand, softening the fingers and the thumb of your left hand, allowing the whole of your left arm to soften. Bringing your awareness to your right arm, softening your right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist, right hand, softening each finger and the thumb of your right hand. Allowing the whole of your right arm to soften. Softening and relaxing through both of your arms together. Softening and relaxing through both of your arms and both of your legs, all together. Now bringing your awareness to the crown of your head. Softening at the top of your head, back of your head, softening your face, soften your forehead, your eyes, and at the backs of your eyes, your ears, and the inside of your ears, your nose, and inside your nostrils, lips, inside your mouth, softening inside your head. The whole of your head softening and relaxing. Softening the muscles of your neck, front and back and either side. And soften inside your throat. Softening at your collarbones, the front of your rib cage, back of your rib cage, and the full circle of your rib cage. Awareness of the inside of your chest. Feel that your lungs are softening. Feel that your heart is softening. Softening at your breathing diaphragm. Whole of your chest. Softening and relaxing. Softening your upper abdomen and your navel center and your lower abdomen. Softening the front of your pelvis and the back of your pelvis and the full circle of your pelvis. And softening inside your pelvis. The whole of the abdominal region softening and relaxing. The whole of your body as one, from the crown of your head all the way down into your toes, softening and relaxing the whole of your body as one. Letting go of all tension, whole of your body completely relaxed. Now we come to visualization. Imagine before you is a forest. You can see a small path leading into the trees, and you begin to walk slowly on the path. As you look down either side of the path, you can see some tiny, colorful wildflowers growing. You continue to walk slowly, admiring the flowers, perhaps hearing the sounds of birds in the trees. And soon you are inside the forest. It's a little bit cooler and a little bit darker. And you look up to see the tall trees towering above you. Imagine you can feel the cool air on your skin. It becomes very quiet all around you, almost as if time is standing still. You find a place to sit down beneath the trees, and then you lie right down upon the earth and gaze upwards. As you gaze upwards into the trees, you can see the sunlight twinkling through the treetops, sunlight streaming down through the trees, As you lie there, you realize you feel wonderfully relaxed. Your whole body is at ease. You feel very peaceful, very quiet. I will now stop speaking for a few minutes. If you do notice your mind wandering off somewhere else, you may choose to come back to that visualization, gazing up into the treetops, seeing the sun streaming down through the trees. Or you could come back to the feeling of stillness and quiet and peace. Noticing the natural heaviness of your body resting on the ground. Noticing all those places where your body is being held and supported by the ground. You may like to begin to deepen your breath. You're welcome to stay right where you are. You might like to stay in stillness. Totally your choice. If you would like to begin to make some movements, start with really gentle movements, your fingers, your toes, maybe swaying your head slowly side to side, maybe taking a full body stretch, or maybe hugging your knees in. And then, as I said, you might decide to stay right where you are. You could bring your hands to your belly. If you do prefer to come to a seated position, slowly roll yourself to one side and take your time moving slowly and gently from there, if you wish, finding a seated position. So whether you're bringing your hands to connect to your body, that might be bringing your hands to your belly or your chest or both. Keeping your eyes softly closed. Taking a moment to ask yourself how you're feeling on the inside. Being right here in this moment, observing your inner experience in this moment. Cultivating self-acceptance, self-care, and self-compassion. Also saying thank you to yourself, thanking yourself for this time that you dedicate to your own well-being. Inviting a feeling of gratitude into your heart center. And then, like a light that shines outwards from your heart center, letting that feeling of gratitude shine out from your heart center and out into the rest of the world. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all beings never be parted from freedom's true joy. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, and I hope you have enjoyed today's practice. Namaste.